So we have breaking news out of the Senate. The unemployment benefits are set to take a real change. And I'm also going to share with you 6 things to do if you're currently facing losing your unemployment. It's going to be a short but good one. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I'm Rinde from Ask Rinde, the #1 community for foreclosure, income, and credit. Please like and share the video. So key news out of the Senate, we just got word that they're going to actually be slashing the $600 unemployment benefits to $200. As we anticipated, the Republicans have said that they weren't comfortable with people receiving $600 a week on top of their normal unemployment benefits because they felt like it empowered them to stay home and be lazy, and they were getting a lot of complaints from employers and businesses saying that they couldn't find workers because people were making more money sitting at home. And also, they're also piloting this program that they're pitching for to put further burden on the states and their governors to state that they need to actually have them implement the 2-month plan of implementing the 70% wage replacement program that they want to implement to be able to replace whatever money that they call or claim as a boost on top of regular unemployment. So in addition to that, the second stimulus bill is supposed to be around $1.1 trillion, and it's going to include things like $105 billion to schools. And you've heard a lot about this in the news where they're talking about giving this funding to the schools, to basically entice them to be able to open, and those schools that didn't open with in-person education, they would actually be losing those benefits. In addition to that, there are things in the bill that are like ridiculous provisions, such as, giving monies to be able to outfit offices and things like that. And so with that being said, I wanted to share with you 6 things to do if you're currently facing losing your unemployment benefits and you have uncertainty and fear and you're not sure what you're going to be doing. A lot of videos are floating around sharing with you the information on what's happening on Capitol Hill and all the decisions that are being made from the government standpoint. But I want to share with you what you can do in spite of whatever the government is doing and what you need to do and the steps you need to take right now, step by step, to be able to get yourself moving forward, not only financially, but getting your family to more stable ground. Number 1, the first thing that we need to do is realize that we have seed. Before you start to get discouraged, before you start to give up hope and feel helpless that nothing's going to work, that your life and your future is really in shambles, we need to look around and realize that God has given us seed. The Bible says he gives seeds to the sower. 2 Corinthians 9:10 says this, "For God is the one who provides seed for the farmer and bread to eat. In the same way, he will provide and increase your resources and then produce a great harvest of generosity in you." So really, it starts in you. I've been in this place many times in life where I've had resets and I've had valleys that I've hit. And I've always realized that at that moment, I always have to look around, because if I'm going to get out of that situation, the first thing that's going to get me out is a seed. And God gives me seed. So it's important to look around you and see what you have, because that's going to be the key of where to start. So maybe you don't have money, but you have time. So it's important that you sow that time into someone who doesn't have the time and serve them in exchange for them to give you money. Or you may have money that you've saved from the unemployment. So it's important, because we know that that money that you have is not enough for you to be able to meet your need or deal with what you have to for your family in the future. So the key now is to take that money and then figure out how to sow it and plant it into something that's going to cause you to be able to not only get a return, but to be able to get growth and multiply the money 3, 4, 5-fold. And there are several ways to be able to grow that money, but you're going to need a vehicle. And that vehicle is either going to be in a product or it's going to be in a service. So these are the 6 steps to help you if your unemployment benefits are expiring. First thing is, we need to figure out what your unemployment filing status is. So there's been a combination of people who've actually filed for unemployment benefits but have never received their benefits and have been waiting for either weeks or months. Then also, on the other hand, there's those who filed for unemployment benefits, started receiving those benefits, and after basically making money or having earned income either 1 or 2 of those weeks and reporting that income, they've stopped receiving their benefits. So they've gotten a note from them saying that their case was in a pending determination status, meaning that they were reviewing them to see if they needed continued support for their benefits. And in essence, for those filings that they continued to make, they were giving a pending credit depending on whether or not they were going to be disqualified for receiving unemployment benefits, or they were going to actually have a determination that was a case in their favor. So again, both sides and all around, people have been in limbo. If you've been receiving your unemployment benefits and you have that money coming into you and you're getting it direct deposited, fine. If you fit in one of those other two categories, what we recommend is that you actually call your local unemployment agency. We found that it actually has sped up the process in getting you out of the holding pattern, so to speak, and out of this limbo status. So I definitely highly recommend, if you're in one of those categories where you have either gotten, never received your unemployment benefits, or you've had your benefits stopped because you actually claimed earned income as you were directed to, then you call them, and you can call them several times, maybe call them daily, to be able to find out how to get that out of that stalled pattern and get it into a process where you're getting it direct deposit into your bank. One word that covers unemployment and what's happening currently right now, I want to share with you and implore you, is stewardship. It's important that we actually exercise stewardship with the money that we're receiving, because we're in uncertain times. There's been a report that's been released that's saying that 42% of jobs that actually have been lost because of the pandemic will not be coming back. So there are going to be a lot of people that don't have jobs to go back to. So there may be a long-term play here with the unemployment, and you need to be a good steward over the funds that you're having and getting in the interim while that's happening. You want to make sure of that, because we don't know if this is going to continue, if there's going to be an extension past the expiration of December of this year. And also with the $600 extension, we've seen what's happened with that. That's been reduced. So you just want to make sure that you exercise good stewardship, whatever money it is you are receiving. The second step you want to take and you want to address is if you're renting or you're paying a mortgage. Now the key to this is going to be one word, and that is negotiating. You want to make sure that you keep that at the top of your mind. If you're a tenant, as we know, most moratoriums have actually now been lifted, although there's been talks of extending the nationwide moratorium. There's no set date, there's no timeline on that. All we've heard is talks that they may be extending it. So for now, it's in a pending, suspended or extended status, but we don't know if it's going to be a month, 2 months, we're not sure. I'm going to give a courtesy outlook on both, whether you're a tenant and also you're a landlord. First, the tenants. If you're a tenant, you've been taken to court for eviction and for non-payment of rent. You can go to the court, and what you can do is share with the judge that you actually have been put in this position because of the virus. You had a job and you lost your job, and you are trying to see how you can actually become current and get income, but you're in this current situation. In addition to that, you can also ask the judge to be able to confirm whether or not your landlord has received, assistance or benefits because of the pandemic, to be able to help their situation, which in turn could help you, because it's showing the judge and the courts that your landlord has had some aid that hopefully can then translate to you. Now, if you're a landlord and you're actually going through this process, I can share with you that being that evictions have actually been suspended, you're probably going to be looking at a 60 to 90 day timeline for you to be able to get your property and your unit back. And you see that as a lengthy process. I highly recommend that you fill out a qualified written request and actually send it to your servicer requesting either a forbearance or deferment on your mortgage. Now you can actually get a copy of both forms that I've included in our guide. I'll put the link in the description below. And the key here is that both sides need to come together and negotiate. There's no easy answer here. So the best solution here is if the landlord can be put in a position where they're not obligated to be able to make a mortgage payment, and then they can then transfer that aid or that benefit over onto the tenant in the interim while everything is leveling out. That's the only way that this can actually play out in the best interest of all parties involved. Because in one case, if you're a landlord and you're forcing this person out, there are going to be a lot of favorable cases in their favor in the courts, because the courts understand the circumstances. So it's going to be difficult for them to actually do that. But at the same time, there's going to be some states that will actually enforce that, and then you're going to have the sheriffs actually going out issuing writ of possessions, and they're going to start to actually evict people. So there are going to be a lot of fallout from this. We expect that there's going to be a lot of people that will be displaced, because obviously once they actually get evicted, that's a stain on their record. If they go to try to find a new place to rent, there's going to be looked upon, specifically if they're going to a new place and the landlord requires records of their rental history. That may be a stain on their rental history, whereas before they didn't have a stain on their rental history. And then also they may be going into areas that necessarily don't require that. So it's a bad situation all around. The easy way to do this would be to actually have a negotiation standpoint from both parties. And hopefully, if the landlord can get a break and then be courteous enough to pass that on to the tenant, that would be a great thing until everything kind of falls in place. So the third step that we want to take, and as we can see, we can't depend on the government or be at their mercy forever. So what you want to do is start to take steps to be able to have income put in place. And what you need to do is make sure that you earn income both actively and also passively, meaning that you need to go out and get a job and either work in person or learn how to work from home. Now, as I've shared many times on my Instagram, your income is like a table. You've gone to restaurants and you've seen tables. Tables sometimes have one stand. The tabletop is here and there's one stand and that's holding up the entire table. Okay? But what happens in the case with that table, if that stand gets knocked down, the entire table crumbles. Versus another table that has 4 legs. So that table is being held up by 4 support systems. So if you break one leg, there's a harder chance that that table will fall. It takes longer for the table to fall because it actually has 3 supporting systems that still remains. That's income. You can't depend on one stream of income. I've been saying it many, many times. You need to have multiple streams of income. And this is what I'm talking about here. So the third step is we are going to actually take the chance to start to now go out and look and source for income. But at the same time, we want to make sure that as we are actively working, whether we're going to work in person or we're going to work at home, we want to make sure that we also have another passive income stream that's set up, that's working alongside us, earning money, whether it's small or incrementally, but it's earning some money for us while we're at work. So there are 5 key ways to do this, and I teach you the beginning of how to set this up in our 30-day challenge. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. So the 4th step you need to take is that you need to start looking for grants and free money. There are programs that exist for private individuals and families to be able to help them in times of need with financial assistance. And I'll share one platform that exists to be able to help and give you direction on this and give you access to some of these programs, and that is modeling.com. I'm going to leave a link in the description below and you can check that out. So the 5th step that we want to take is that we want to make sure that we start to save money. As I've shared from the beginning of this entire process, that we want to make sure that we start to become not only good stewards, but preserve, because we don't know what the future is. We don't know what the future holds. We know that we may be heading into a time of famine. So we want to make sure that we have preserves to be able to maneuver our family and also start to develop habits that will help us. Turn lights off where you're not using them. Preserve water. Don't be wasteful with the water in your house. Also, try to see if you can purchase food that can stretch for 3 days. Instead of going out to eat all the time, make sure that you're actually buying food and stretching it out. You want to make sure that you take this on, not from a pauper mentality, but just to be basically a better steward. Making sure that you're saving. You're really saving a majority. Try to see if you can save at least 65% of whatever money that you have while you negotiate with whatever debtors that you have, utility companies, etc. See how you can negotiate with them to see if they can give you some sort of payment plan or reduced payment plan in the interim temporarily while things kind of peter out with everything going on all around the country. And the 6th step that you want to take is that you want to read Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. It's very important that we're in a position now where some of us don't know tomorrow. And we want to make sure that we're not leaning to our own understanding. We're not letting everything weigh down on us. We want to make sure that we can actually, get some relief by casting our cares on God, getting help from him, getting support, getting wisdom, looking to him for direction. So I want to encourage you to highly, highly read this scripture. It's very important. It'll give you help. It'll give you support. It will sharpen you, and it'll show you that God is there to give you wisdom in your time of need. So I really just want to thank you guys for watching the video, and I wanted to share these 6 steps because I know there's a lot of information regarding what's going on with unemployment, and I figured I would share with you some solutions of what you should do right now in the situation that we're in. As we head into this famine time, make sure that you're actually positioned very well so that you can actually leverage throughout this and come into a time of harvest. So these are just a few of the steps that I teach you in our 30-day challenge from day 1 to day 30, where we give you a plan, a blueprint of what to do when you're dealing with facing not only foreclosure, but dealing with facing famine, dealing with facing the times that we're in right now of uncertainty, whether you've been used to going out to work, but now you're in a situation where you have to watch your children. You can't leave home. You can't give them to someone as a babysitter because you're not sure if they're going to be compromised and they're going to be affected by either the virus or something else. So you need to figure out how to not only earn money from home, but also set up passive income from home. And we teach you all of this inside the 30-day foreclosure challenge. And we're also adding daily to the challenge, which is an awesome and added benefit to you. So start the challenge today. And I thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.